Next story I wanted to talk about is about a guy named Mark Robinson. Now, I've talked about him a few times before. In fact, I've critiqued this exact video, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a refresher on who he is, because it's been a couple of weeks or maybe even a month since I've talked about him. I don't know how long now. This is the Lieutenant Governor. Hey, kitty, what are you doing? Why are you over here? Go on, I got things going on right now. I know you want pets, but... Good kitty. Okay, go on. This is Mark Robinson. He is the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, I believe. It's North Carolina. Yeah, he's the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. He's a big fucking deal. He's not a nobody. When he speaks, people listen. He is a major politician, second most powerful person in the entire state of North Carolina. So we should be taking this shit seriously. Let's listen to this clip. It's a shortened version from the one that I've discussed before, because I want to look at one of the new speeches he gave just the other day. Listen to this clip. This is from early October 2021.
You have to send your children here to school. Then when they get there, what do they teach them? Teach them a bunch of stuff about how to hate America. Teach them a bunch of stuff about why they're racist. Teach them a bunch of stuff about transgenderism and homosexuality.
I gotta say, I don't remember learning any of that shit in school. When would they, quote unquote, teach any of this stuff? Is he just saying that, like, these kids have friends that are gay or whatever? Why is that a problem? I don't understand.
I'm saying this now, and I've been saying it, and I don't care who likes it. Those issues have no place in a school. There's no reason anybody anywhere in America should be telling any child about transgenderism, homosexuality, any of that filth. And yes, I called it filth. And if you don't like it that I called it filth, come see me and I'll explain it to you.
Yeah, I don't need you to explain it to me. I know exactly why far-right conservative wingnuts have a tendency to hate people and divide and find reasons to complain about things. It really didn't surprise me to hear him saying things like this, just based on who he is and other things that he said in the past. But it disappoints the hell out of me to hear things like this. I can't fucking stand it. You know, these things are like facts of society. You know, there are gay people in society. There are trans people in society. That's just what it is. Do you just not want people to talk about this? Do you not want anybody in society who's gay to even exist? Do you want to deport them or something? I mean, I say that in jest, but in reality, that probably is pretty on par with what this guy believes and how he feels. I just want to set the tone, because this is the kind of person we're dealing with right now. I want you guys to understand exactly the type of person we're dealing with as we walk into the rest of this. Listen to this next clip. This one came out late November 2021, so pretty recent.
We're facing a federal government that, let's face it, is tyrannical.
Federal government is tyrannical, is what he says here.
Oh, yeah.
It is tyrannical. Guys, this is the type of government the Second Amendment was made for.
This is the type of government the Second Amendment was made for. If that's not a call to action, I don't know what is. Seriously. I don't know what is. How much further does he have to go before he crosses the line into this is against the law to say? You can't yell fire in a crowded theater because it could lead to imminent health risks. It could hurt people, like immediately hurt people. That basically seems like what he's doing here. Seems exactly like what he's doing here. He's getting people whipped up into a blood frenzy and more willing to, quote unquote, use their Second Amendment rights. Is this not concerning to anybody else? It sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? I mean, we've heard other people say shit like this recently. This is from early August 2021. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And one more thing on that, you lucky people here in Alabama might get a knock on your door, because I hear Alabama might be one of the most unvaccinated states in the nation. Well, Joe Biden wants to come talk to you guys.
For context, at this time, Joe Biden said that he was thinking about finding a way to send people around door to door, basically, with vaccines. And if you wanted one, you could get vaccinated right then and there at the door. Just super simple. It makes it easier and more convenient for people to get vaccinated who may not otherwise have the time, you know, because they have to work full time or even work 2 jobs or 3 jobs. People are busy. especially in this economy that's complete garbage. Nobody has any time or money. So Joe Biden had talked about making things a little bit easier to encourage vaccination by sending people out to you. If you wanted to get vaccinated, you could optionally have them come inside and give you the shot and then go on. Sounds like an awesome fucking idea to me. Let's see what Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks of it.
He's going to be sending one of his police state friends to your front door to knock on the door, take down your name, your address, your family members' names, your phone numbers, your cell phone numbers, probably ask for your social security number.
Okay, first of all, it wouldn't be police state friends because these are just they're health workers. They're not police officers. And second, the federal government has all of that information. In fact, they're the ones that assigned the fucking social security number to you in the first place. So she's just fear-mongering here, straight up.
Whether you've taken the vaccine or not. Yeah, well, what they don't know is in the South, we all love our Second Amendment rights.
Is this not crossing the line into, illegal speech yet? When does it cross the line into against the law? This is barely a dog whistle. This isn't even really a dog whistle. Why hide behind the Second Amendment right thing? We're going to exercise our Second Amendment right. Just come out and say what you mean. How are they getting away with this anyways? It blows my fucking mind. How have they not been charged with a crime for inciting violence with this type of rhetoric? These are fucking politicians, people. These are politicians, elected representatives. These people are the government, and they're trying to destroy it from the inside. Anyways, that was Marjorie Taylor Greene's bit on it. That brings us cleanly to the heart of the video. This is the clip I wanted to talk about originally. This is from late November 2021. I have a couple clips from this speech that Mark Robinson gave, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. So let's give this a listen and see what he had to say for himself.
Gay couple, straight couple, dark room, 9 months later, gay couple, 2 people, 9 months later, heterosexual, 3 people. These people are superior because they can do something these people can't do.
Okay, fascinating. Dark room? Why does the room have to be dark? I know I'm just nitpicking here, but basically the crux of his argument is that gay people can't produce children, and that makes straight couples superior. I guess you'd call this straight supremacy. This is the LGBT version of white supremacy. It's basically the exact same thing. Straight people are superior to gay people, and they should be treated as such. Alex Baranowski, by his logic, menopausal women who cannot make babies any longer shouldn't be married. So in that respect, I guess that means that people who are in relationships that are older than, say, 70 years old, or even 50 years old in some cases, people who are in relationships who are older than 50 are abominations and shouldn't be married and are inferior to people who are in relationships and under 50 years old. The thing about this ideology that he has is that it's nonsensical. It's not based on principle. It's based on hate. And as a result, it's super easy to poke holes in it. And we have to continue to poke those holes. We have to continue to point out those inconsistencies. It's important that we point those inconsistencies out. This is so fucking concerning, this rhetoric. Seriously. When you go down this rabbit hole, when you go down this route of using language like this, it leads to an ugly place. We can look at history as evidence of what happens when supremacists get involved in government. It is not hard to find. We have lots of examples of it. Real horrific stuff. Dude fancies himself a comedian. I don't find this fucking funny. Let's keep listening.
They do. Because that's the way God created it to be. And I'm tired of this society trying to tell me it's not so. Society has completely purged God from the building and from the equation.
Well, yeah, I would hope. Getting God out of politics and out of the classrooms and things like that, yeah, that's how it should be. There shouldn't be Jesus all up in there. Shouldn't have anything to do with it. You want to be religious? Go to church. I mean, this guy is a pastor of his church, I believe. That's perfectly fine. I have no fucking problem with that. But when you try to seamlessly integrate it into politics, when you try to force it on other people, when you try to force people to conform to your religious beliefs, then I have a problem with it. And as a matter of fact, that is exactly what this guy is doing. That's what he's been doing the whole fucking time. We have laws to prevent this kind of thing, like the Establishment Clause in the Constitution, and the rules set up by the separation of church and state by Thomas Jefferson in communication with Danbury Church, wrote a bunch of letters back and forth between them that describe exactly what the Founding Fathers wanted things to look like regarding separation of church and state. We have all of that stuff outlined perfectly clearly. I have to wonder what society would look like right now if Thomas Jefferson hadn't had those conversations with Danbury Church. If the Establishment Clause wasn't in the Constitution to prevent politics and religion from mixing, what would it look like right now? It's already mixing heavily. What if the Johnson Amendment wasn't in the tax code? What would our political landscape look like right now? These people are Christian supremacists, Christian nationalists.
People say, oh, Lance, I don't know, you sound like a Christian nationalist. Yes, I am a Christian nationalist.
They believe that this country should be made up of Christians and Christians only. The government should be made up of Christians and Christians only. That's the caliber of person that we're dealing with here.
And because of it, we're headed down into a rabbit hole that's going to lead us to something we can't even imagine.
What does that even mean? And because of it, we're being led into a rabbit hole that we can't even imagine? What's going to happen? This is like fear-mongering to the highest degree. What is the worst that could possibly happen if we had gay marriage in the country, or if gay people were just accepted as equal members of society? What's the worst that could happen? Mark Robinson, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. What's the worst that could happen?
God destroyed a society because of its immorality. And let's get this straight. In this country, we don't have a homosexual issue. That's just a tool of the devil to continue to divide us and lead us into immorality.
Oh, that's the worst that could happen. I see. Sodom and Gomorrah. The old reference to Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, I can see he hasn't read his Bible, because that's not why Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because of their ill treatment of the poor. It had nothing to do with their LGBT lifestyle or whatever else, quote unquote. Nothing to do with it. But, you know, that's the thing about the Bible. If I've said this once, I've said it 100 times. It's a book written over the span of thousands of years by dozens of authors, and they all had contradicting viewpoints. If you want to justify a position that you already hold, you can. You want to hate people in the LGBT community? Easy. We got like 6 verses for it, but only 6. If you want to love people in the LGBT community, that's easy too. We've got endless verses about loving your neighbor, not judging lest ye be judged, and all that other shit. The Bible is only a pretext to reaffirm your already existing moral beliefs. That's what the Bible really is. It does not make any moral declarations that it doesn't reverse a chapter later. So we know exactly where Mark Robinson falls on this spectrum. And it is not because the Bible says so, because the Bible directly contradicts his beliefs about how you're supposed to treat people. His position is not biblically based. His position was probably programmed into him by his parents. Let's listen to the next clip. This one came out late November 2021. Obviously, it's from the same talk that we were just watching. It's just a different section of the talk. So let's give this one a listen and see what he says.
I can't stand to turn that TV on, and I don't want my grandkids watching that television. Because I don't want to have to explain to my grandkids why 2 men are kissing.
Okay, I don't know what show he's watching that even has that, but if there's like if there's like a makeout scene or something, that would probably not make it on TV anyways. Not just between guys, but between a married couple. They wouldn't have like serious makeout sessions between 2 people on the TV. Or maybe they would, but it would be on like a later night show or something. TV is really, really strict about what you can put on there. So I'm not sure what he's afraid of his kids seeing on the TV, but there are like serious ratings boards that like heavily restrict that kind of thing in the first place. What is he so afraid of? Like, why does this upset him so much anyways? You're okay with your kids seeing a guy and a girl kissing. You're okay with your kids seeing a guy and a girl hold hands or hug or whatever. Why is it any different? What's different about it? Tell me what's different about this. I mean, really explain it to me. Go into detail. What is different about these two scenarios here?
I don't want to have to explain to my grandkids why two men are kissing. And I don't care what anybody thinks that. Get mad at me if you want to.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just fucking confused. Why do you give a shit? I mean, you're a Republican, right? I mean, Mark Robinson is a Republican, and a large part of the Republican identity is libertarianism, or they've tried to make it that anyways, even though they aren't really libertarians. The idea behind libertarianism is having a small state. Republicans like to pretend that they have a libertarian streak in them usually. Having that libertarian streak, Mark Robinson, why do you give a shit what other people are doing in their own lives between two consenting adults? Who fucking cares? Why is this such a bugbear for you?
Ain't no child got no business seeing no two men kiss. If they did, God would have made it that way. He didn't.
As a matter of fact, good sir, he did. God created everything, right? Didn't God create everything? Well, he must have created the gay couples too. Either that, or God fucked up somewhere along the way. So which is it? Is God imperfect and fucked things up? Or did he create gay couples? Guess what? Animals engage in long-term, monogamous, homosexual relationships too, not just humans. From my understanding, I think it's about 10% of the ram population has long-term, monogamous, gay relationships with each other. How about that shit? Did Satan get to the rams? Is that what happened? Or did God create all that you see and just so happened to create some gay sheep? Fundamentally, his beliefs on this shit don't make any sense. And when you start poking holes, it falls apart.
Everything that God made serves a purpose. I don't care how ugly it is. Let's get a little ugly.
Uh-oh. Let's get a little ugly. Oh, all right. Okay. Strap in, guys. We're going to get a little ugly. Here we go.
I want you to think about what the cows leave behind. It don't get no uglier than that.
Remember, this guy fancies himself a comedian. He is pretty interesting. Like, his rhetorical style is pretty good if the things that he was saying weren't so fucking grotesque. Then he could probably make it as a comedian to some degree. Probably a low on the list comedian, not very good, but he's a good public speaker, generally speaking, when he's talking to an audience that agrees with him. When he's talking just to a general audience, it's fucking disgusting. But anyway, I digress. Let's keep listening.
But you think about what can be done with what the cow leaves behind. Why is the grass in that cow pasture so green? Why is it so lush? Could it be that ugly stuff the cow left behind? See, God created that. He made that for a purpose. Everything that God made, from the foul odor of what the cow left behind, to the decaying body of every living creature, to the maggots that eat those dead bodies, to the flies that fly around what the cow left. God made all those things for a purpose. Will somebody please explain to me the purpose of homosexuality?
Okay, interesting. Let me give it a shot. See if we can sit here and figure this out. The purpose of homosexuality. Okay. Well, first you're going to have to tell me what the purpose of monogamous relationships are in general. If you can explain to me what the purpose of a monogamous relationship is in the first place, then I will explain to you what the purpose of homosexuality is. It's basically one and the same. What's the point of having a guy and a girl marry? What's the point there? I can see benefits from getting married, right? Combine incomes, work together to support each other, so on and so forth. All those same benefits apply in a gay relationship. And as a matter of fact, gay couples can have kids. Not together yet. Science may not have gotten us there quite yet, but they are actually fully capable of reproducing. So there really isn't any special thing that's superior about straight relationships that makes gay relationships inferior. That's just complete nonsense and shows what a myopic view this guy has of the world.
Let's get down to brass tacks. What is the purpose of homosexuality? What does it create?
Why does it need to create anything anyways? Can't you just accept that some people want to live their lives the way they want to live it without hurting anybody? Two consenting adults doing whatever they want to do with their lives. I mean, this guy does things that the church would frown upon all the time, I'm sure. In fact, basically every single human does things that the churches would frown upon. That's the nature of being a church, making sure that nobody can live up to the standards exactly as they set them. A lot of churches want you to feel guilt in your heart for not doing the right thing, quote unquote, and they define what the right thing is. So people are going around living their lives as they want to live them, and you are trying to insert yourself in there somewhere. And I can't for the life of me figure out why. What the goal is, what the benefit is. What is your goal behind trying to ostracize and hate and demonize the LGBT community? What is your point there? What are you trying to get done? This guy would have a lot more success in his political campaign if he brought people into the grand old tent. Isn't the grand old party supposed to include everybody? It's a big tent, right? He could easily expand his voter base by being more accepting of people who are hurting nobody. Instead of expanding his voter base, he chooses to demonize and hurt and ostracize. That's just a microcosm of the movement that we have to find a way to work around. I would like to think that these are the dying breaths of the anti-LGBT movement, but I think we still have a long road ahead.